We all expect that Liquid were going to win this coming into the tournament. I think paiN have at least put a couple of question marks down there, Tom. That performance yesterday was excellent, but as everyone said, and as you just touched on there, this is a significant step up. Can paiN prove us wrong? Can they prove the world wrong? I think Dust2 is their best chance.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been a map where... Okay. I was going to say, other teams have managed to do damage versus Liquid. We're talking about some of the best teams in the entire world, so it's a different ball game altogether. I'm liking this, though, from paiN. They're not changing their game plan whatsoever. They're going to fight them for every piece of ground that they can, and Team Liquid have already been caught.
Exactly. This is something that Neck has said in the interview, and it's good to see them follow up on that commitment. Elige down low, 27 HP, joined alongside paiN. As it looks like they will at least get a post plant, so opportunities will be available for assault rifles next round, regardless of what happens at this point, but they want to lock it down. paiN spots at least one player up on short. I think you can hear two players now shooting at him. That will be relayed to Elige, who's now holding the long angle, trying to shut down the CTs. PKL's been tagged, but paiN has been put down with authority. And now Elige has to try and clutch this 1-on-3, and Big Azera says no. paiN Gaming take first blood.
I love the fact that they haven't shied away from anything. It was mentioned on the desk, Blair was saying, like, if you allow Liquid to play their game, if you do play scared, you're going to get wrecked. You're going to get absolutely destroyed because they'll start taking liberties. Well, they've set the precedent in this game, peeking straight into mid, re-peeking off the back of a flash, and just managing to do so much in the early round that in the latter stages, well, there was not really much that Elige could do. Solid start, but there's still a hell of a lot to come, as now we see that buy-in with the AKs. And while you got Elige and Stewie, and I wasn't even going to mention paiN Scalp, I feel like I have to now.
Oh, jeez. Through the double doors, through the head of PKL. And Nekis taking the initiative, pushes through alongside. Safe gets caught, but still holds the line for one, and hasn't been finished off. He survives on 5 HP. And a parting gift with the HG allows him to just escape.
And also, we saw some aggression coming out from Neckers at the same time. So re-peeking into long, using the battle that was going on between the teammates to actually find another pick. Now, Elige is still alive and kicking. As I said, he's been having a fantastic tournament already. Will drop the first, but the peek onto Neckers is not going to go the same way. A 3v2 ensues as the remaining players try to push through Cat.
No flashes from Neckers. Both have been successful. paiN gets tagged up a little bit, but Grim still with the deagle is taking the fight to Neckis. He still stands, still delivers fatal blows. His third in the round, and paiN now stuck in the smoke of the site. He was never really going to win from that position. However, 2 consecutive bomb plants for Liquid, but 2 consecutive successful defuses for paiN.
The only thing with a couple of players being dropped and another bomb plant, there is that temptation to try and risk it once again. Dust2 is very much about the momentum-based game, and I don't know how much they're going to want to allow for their opponents to almost build that momentum up. On the other side, though, they could just invest into a few pistols, try and do some damage in this round, and then have a proper buy in the next, which is actually what they're going to be going for.
paiN still with that scout, of course, will be trying to connect more headshots through the doors, and I'm loving this aggression from paiN, but you have to think a team like Liquid, with the experience on fallen shoulders, it's something that Neckis even said, that he's done so much for the Brazilian scene, there's a lot of respect there, and rightfully so. You think that this aggression is eventually going to get read, Tom, and they're going to be able to at least somewhat counteract it. So what I'm curious about for paiN is, do you then have the composure to actually play passively and allow this to just kind of fluctuate in the back of Liquid's mind? This is going to slow them down. This is going to get rid of some of their utility to deal with these potential pushes. So I want to see that from paiN. I want to see different sides to the coin.
And what they've done relatively well in this round, if you look at what is remaining in terms of utility for Liquid, it's just flashbangs. It leaves so many openings for peaks to come in, solid flash as well to give Safe the first. That's the bomb. They know exactly where this play is going, and they need to isolate this man, and that is a lot easier said than done, especially with the weaponry currently available for Liquid. They are being picked apart one by one, and paiN trying his best to buy time for the flank. But at this stage, I feel like they're probably going to realize where Nav's coming from.
Oh, now they definitely know. He's rattled off a couple of shots with the deagle. and they will swarm him in. Now, they all have rifles, so any kills at this point would have been worthwhile on NAF. Unfortunately for Liquid, that won't come to fruition. However, Liquid now have a purchase, and they can afford an AWP, albeit a glass cannon, if Fallen decides to pick it up, which I expect he will. I'd be very surprised if you don't pick up an AWP, even with any potential lag issues on Dust2. This is so integral to any team on either side.
I don't think he's going to be shying away from it at any point in this game. I'd be very surprised. Like maybe going into some of the other maps later on, but on Dust2, I would just think it would be more of a risk than a burden. Now, for the CT side in this round, as I said, they've been very proactive so far, already dominating long control after Liquid don't really challenge for it. And because of that, they've actually rotated more players into mid. They've got aggression on short. It's only really B where they're being passive at the moment. So a lot of information being searched for from paiN. Now, this does give opportunities for Liquid to potentially find an opener, and Safety's going to try and wait in the Molotov. But for now, we'll find nothing.
It's a really important molly that was tossed down from the one and done position. Allows Liquid now to know don't have to deal with that angle any longer. Can turn their attention elsewhere. 55 seconds left. Fallen is now peeking through middle, hoping he gets peeked, but Hardzao has no reason to do so. He also has the AUG, so he can actually watch from that angle all the way up towards the cross. If at any point there is a drop down, which is a classic, the double hit, you smoke over on catwalk, drop a couple players down, the rest push onto the A site. Now, Liquid have taken a long time here, and Bigazera, even while Flash, still connects the headshot, and that is Hardzao now showing the position I was just touching on. This crossfire is excellent. Exquisite play from paiN, and even though they will concede the bomb plant potentially, although actually that being said, the bomb hasn't crossed just yet. I thought it was in the hands of Grim. It still needs to make a move over there. Even if they do concede the bomb plant, it still should go the way of the Brazilians because the HP is so low on Grim, time is scarce, and Safe has just picked off NAF. They won't even get a bomb plant. They're just juggling the bomb forever.
Yeah, there was a fast flank coming in from Nekiz, but it wasn't even really needed in the end. He does get the final frag, but it's more just the shot from Safe on the cross. There's a Molotov on the door to try and make it a little bit more challenging, but he picks NAF straight out of the air, and there's a reason that the desk highlighted him. There's a reason why we'll highlight him as well, because he has been a showstopper so far.
At one point yesterday, he was 17 and 2 frags. Very early on Inferno. He was just straight up a one-man army. It was kind of insane. Now, again, as we say, against Liquid, you might not be having those same kind of results, but so far, he hasn't been slowing down. He's been picking up the pace, if anything. Bigazera through middle. Again, this is against pistols, but Elige is off by his lonesome through double doors. Won't yield anything apart from putting Liquid into a deficit.
Yeah, these are the sort of rounds where Liquid might try and be a little bit more cheeky. That was the plan there from Elige, was basically hit the timing around that smoke. Nade's doing a ridiculous amount of damage as well. And it's the same play again. They want to try and get an afterplant position, but chances of that seem slim, especially with the two-man hold onto short. They know this is coming. It is the most telegraphed play on Dust2. Low by, try and get bomb plant on short and see what you can do in the afterplant. Realistically, I think they're going to be denied again. And that's the thing. They're not even playing retake at the moment. They're not even giving the chance for Team Liquid to put the bomb down, which obviously has its risks because you're normally fighting with less players initially. But it just doesn't give them any space. They're almost being choked into the site before they can even do anything.
And what I'm really liking about this from paiN is that point that I touched on before, where it hasn't just been all ruthless aggression. They've been okay to sit back and say, okay, look, listen, if you do want to try and take executes, we'll just sit in off angles, we'll sit in crossfires, and we'll just basically teamwork you out of the rounds. But Elige catches Hardzao out in the open with a flash, and even though Bigazera flicks down to Elige, he's been fragged out as well. Nekiz steps up. It's a 2-2 trade. And somehow paiN actually hold on to long. When they lost kills that early on, I feared the worst for them. PKL, though, off angle, nearly gets the kill onto Stewie, but the AK triumphs. Even though he was headshot, Stewie will limp towards the site on 10 HP.
And this is a position where, unless there's a very quick kill coming up for paiN, you're almost expecting them to save here. They do have a little bit of extra cash, so maybe Nekiz can try and force a few exits, but the loss of the gun could even cost them a little bit into the next round. So I'd rather just see him make sure he keeps his gun alive and maybe let Liquid get away with it this time. Solid mid-round call as well from Liquid to quickly switch things up. As you mentioned, they somewhat lost that battle over towards long, but they were quick enough to react that it came down to basically a couple of kills being needed from bigazera. And well, this time it's not going to be the case. Nekis is still here though. The first one should be for free. A little bit awkward, but there he gets taken down. That said, it's not the end of the world. They do have the extra finances, but it probably would have been preferable to at least keep that gun up.
Oh, sure. They will be able to get a good buy, but it's all about what's in their bank balance afterwards. That could be more of a grimace here. A couple players down below $500. And yeah, with this extra save weapon, you're looking at 4 players next round and get a really solid purchase rather than just 3. So it could catch up with them. But of course, as ever, if paiN just bounce straight back in and lock this out without any issues, then we can just scratch off any of those potential hurdles. So Liquid still need to get consistency. It was a great call, as you said, through the middle of the round. But paiN Gaming so far have been on point. Can Liquid rinse and repeat?
Oh, this time, going to take control of short a little bit earlier in the round, but you can see how wary they are of the pushes that have been coming in from paiN. Grim still keeping an eye on tunnels just in case they've chosen a different avenue to aggress. And well, it seems like long control has been a huge part of paiN's game plan. It basically frees up Safe and also bigazera on the A side to just focus solely on short. The 2 B players haven't had a whole lot to do and are sticking much more passively. And bigazera, I think he's getting ready for this push.
Already had tons of success. But the Molotov will force him away. Safe still on long. Has been undeterred. They need more flashes and more grenades alongside it. HE's now tossed in. Safe's already got one. Narrowly misses off on the secondary flick. And Fallen using the gap in the smoke to try and pick off any encounters on the cross from paiN. It will be post-plant, but a 4v5, and paiN still have a bit of utility at their disposal.
Bigazera's positioning, they're going to boost up. This is mad. Leash looks like he's watching for this. This is so insane. He just watches them poke their head out. So it's a game of whack-a-mole for Leash as he'll get himself 2 kills. And this round is looking all but over, but Nekis quickly manages to find a couple. Unfortunately, the time seems to be ticking away. Even with the frags, they're going to need to get onto this bomb right now, and they just don't have it. Very, very close for paiN, but Liquid will get their second.
I'll get their second, but 2 of paiN survived. They killed all 5, and there's 2 players around $4,000. So you look at this buy from Liquid, and yeah, they're going to be able to get 2 rounds, and sure, they're going to be able to get a decent enough buy, but paiN will be able to purchase again. Liquid's economy has certainly not stabilized. Look at their money in surplus here. Most is $950. So paiN, they actually don't force behind this, which I'm quite surprised by when you save 2 weapons. They've got 2 ops in play as well. So this is a bit of a head scratch, and there's another one. And Fallen takes off the head of Safe. He does get a pick just beforehand. Hartzau's watching for that peek, but Stewie's too quick.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone as confident as Safe. It's somewhat understandable. He is 13-2 versus Team Liquid, but he re-peaked mid 3 times versus Fallen. And talk about the respect they have for this man. I'm seeing none, at least within the server. That was ballsy as hell, and they do get punished. They might have to from this point onwards. Now, PKL has managed to retrieve that AWP, but other than that, financially, it's not a good position for paiN in this round. And while Fallen's already going to pick off another, maybe teaching them a bit of a lesson in respect. PKL still doing damage though, and as you mentioned, economy really is rough still at this stage for Liquid. So even just another kill or 2, we know that paiN are going to come back in the next round with basically a full purchase.
Precisely. That's exactly it. And bigazera, only with Deagle, he has every right to go in and try and maybe connect a shot or 2. I think PKL will have more interest in saving this. So it seems like the 2 of them will save, especially as they've now found an AK-47s. You absolutely want to take that into the next round. I'd say mission somewhat accomplished from paiN, though. You keep 2 weapons through. Sure, it's not the double ops, which would have been ideal, but you also take down 2 players alongside you. And that last round with the retake, by the way, so many teams would have never even contemplated the idea. The fact that paiN go in for that, I feel like that's a declaration of intent, Tom, across the Liquid, like expect the unexpected. At no point are we going to do what you think we're going to do, or what we should maybe, like, you know, quotation marks, do in the meta plays. Like, we'll go for these audacious retakes because we have full confidence in ourselves. They know that they're underdogs. If they come out and even take a map, it's going to be a surprise. And I think that definitely takes a lot of the pressure off your shoulders and allows you to be freer and express yourselves a lot more on the server.
Yeah, I almost find it a little bit ironic that they have a player called Safe when they play anything but that. Like, this is so unbelievably bold that he repeats us 3 times, knowing that Fallen's on the other side. I respect the gall to do it, but yeah, not going to work out this time. That's pretty mad as well. We've got 3 of the top opening fraggers, or percentage-wise, at the event so far. So I'm expecting some flashy players. I think we've already witnessed some. And as I said, like, we've got some players popping off for paiN at the moment. And actually, on the other side, a lot of the Liquid players have been relatively quiet. Like, Elige had at least a moment earlier on, but other than that, the bombs had to save them at least once.
Yeah, exactly, it has. And I think that's also... It feels like a backhanded compliment to Liquid, but that's also showing just how good they are as a team. That even when it doesn't feel like any of them are particularly playing fantastically right now, they still have somehow grinded out 3 rounds. And that for me is the making of like a top 5, top 10 team in the world. You don't always have to play your best CS, but you grind out those results when the going is tough.
I think the other thing as well, though, is we have to realize that that's not going to last. And for paiN, they almost have to put the pressure on now while they do have a couple of quieter players, because if every single member of Liquid doesn't frag the entire, or for the majority of this game, I'll be gobsmacked. It just doesn't happen within matches. Maybe 1 or 2 people go missing. That happens on every team, but every single one of them, I don't believe that's going to happen. So paiN need to capitalize while they have that opportunity. Now, this round at least, 45 seconds left on the clock, and Fallen's going to start making a move through middle. He might be on high ping, but he can still look to try and find those entries. Now, they've actually going to be caught with nades in hand. The biggest error. Again, a risky peek, that pays off. And they've still got multiple players ready and waiting for this push to come in. Hardzao gets hard cleared, and Stewie manages to open up the B site. Again, it is the B site that falls. This time, though, I feel like there might be more opportunity for a retake.
There is, especially with Nekis getting so much information and so much real estate pushing around the back of the T's right now. He's already moving towards tunnels, but Fallen has read the situation perfectly. So many repetitions at the top level of Counter-Strike. You cannot fool this man. And now he's about to get peeked potentially by 2 players. The flash isn't perfect, but the jump across baits out the shot. And that should allow paiN Sanctuary to save these 2 weapons. Means, of course, that Liquid will be posting up yet another round, 4 in a row now, I believe. And I completely agree with your assessment, Tom. Eventually, you're going to start to see the likes of Elige step up to the plate with the rest of the team. Safe, it's another one to Grim, actually, so it makes this really costly. Fallen's down to 3,600, and Naf could drop him an AWP. But again, you're looking at a similar situation where they're not going to have a ton of money in the bank.
It's at the point where it would be very easy for paiN to just reset the economy of Liquid, but they actually have to win themselves around. And over the last few, it's just been effective trading that's come out from Liquid and a few decent openers from Fallen that has done enough for them in this round. They've been good at getting the afterplant situation, and a few of the players have almost been a bit of a one and done when it comes to the side of paiN. Now, again, it looks like they want to put pressure on the B site. I think it's been the better of the 2 sites for them to hit. They've avoided that AWP of Safe, and again, it's just going to be a fast take.
Straight out into the open. The flashbang is perfect. It saves the life of Grim, but not for much longer. Hardzao cleans him out. PKL still behind the car. They're still holding this one down, and Fallen and Elige finally get themselves some success. But is it too little too late? Again, Nekis is quickly wrapping around the back. Bomb yet to get planted. They're tickling this, trying to draw out one of the CTs into the open, but they know they have the ace up the sleeve. They've got Nekis that's making so much movement towards the tunnels that by the time they've got this planted, he may get there way quicker than they anticipate. You can see Elige is darting back and forward. He's not sure which angle to cover. He's basically covering 3 angles by himself. And as good as he is, the timing may work against him. He needs to peek up and get one headshot really quick. And Fallen goes straight in with the AK, leaving it all down to Nekis with the FAMAS in hand. As much as I was talking about that flank, at this stage, they know where he is, and he has nearly no chance at clutching. Great shot from Fallen. Beautiful hold by Liquid.
And it almost seems like paiN got baited a little bit there. They were trying to wait for that rotation to come in. They took their time initially, and then I'm not sure what it was, but it just seemed like Big Uzera just went a little bit earlier than everyone else. Like, the flank hadn't come in. There would have been an easy trade if he'd waited just a little bit longer. And it ends up as them going in one by one. And okay, if you're going to face Elige and Fallen one by one, you're screwed. Like, that's one thing you can't deny. Whether there's ping issues or not, their crossfire is going to be solid.
I think we may have reached that point, Tom, where Liquid, they're warmed up. They're starting to feel it a little bit more. We're seeing some of those snappy one-taps that we know from Elige, and now Naf's put one in. Sure, it's against pistols and a scout, but it's a far cry and a big improvement from what we saw in those first few rounds, where Liquid seemed like they were a little bit sloppy. No longer the case. Save still 15-3, by the way, to his name, but he's just got dinked at range. Doesn't get quite finished off because of the box providing a bit of cover. Good flashes are tossed in and decent damage behind it. Beautiful shot from Safe onto Naf. He is the human highlight reel right now, but it's still a 3-on-2. And actually, Tom, I'd almost wrote this round off. With a weakened Fallen, there's at least a way back in to do some damage onto the remaining Liquid players, and Grim just caught a grenade straight on the head.
I think it's the reason we're seeing such like frag disparity. Like if you looked at the scoreboard right now, you would think paiN are winning. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. You would be like, okay, 16-4, 11-9, 8-5, 5-6, 4-5. They must be winning this game. But it's mainly just because, firstly, paiN have had a few rounds where they've just saved their weaponry, or at least had a few players saved to make sure they keep the AWP, for example, in play. But also, the initial rounds they were winning were very, very clean. Like, they were able to basically just obliterate Liquid and then continue forward, whereas Liquid really have had to grind out a lot of these rounds because of all the flashy plays. The problem is it just seems like paiN, firstly, haven't had many, if any, successful retakes. Like, the closest was obviously where they sort of killed everyone and the bomb went off, maybe just a little bit too slow. But I also think some of the retakes are a bit disjointed, and some of that comes down to just good utility, good after plants from Liquid, but some of it just seems to come down to slightly off timing.
Maybe the pressure of that step up that we were talking about at the beginning of this match has proved to catch paiN off guard. Not entirely sure, but I hope from the neutral's perspective that they can steady the ship a little bit. That flashbang couldn't have been better placed. Nekis out in the open, completely caught by it, but Safe again. Just cannot miss with the AWP. At least make sure that there will be casualties on Liquid, but they've already taken by and large control over the site. Now the bomb still needs to make a move in. It's still on catwalk with Fallen, so it'll take a little while before he joins the rest of the troops. Grim's gone down to the hands of Hard Zhao, and with the death onto Grim, that's pretty much a kick up the backside for Liquid to get that bomb down right here, right now.
This is the true test. I've questioned their retakes thus far. This is a 4-on-3. This should be theirs to be had, and a solid start. Flashbang over, Fallen in position. He's not going to get anything, and Safe, in the meantime, will pick off Elige. Make that one look easy, and it will be an equalization once again. Good round from paiN.
Yeah, it's really good to see that paiN didn't get too dissuaded by losing the first player. I think the kill onto Grim on the lower tunnel was actually so vital. If that had gone against them, that would have had more superiority around catwalk, would have made this more one-dimensional on the retake. Safe would have had to do a lot more than sit back and use that AWP at range. That's their first round in 6, though, for paiN, and they instantly call a tactical timeout just to make sure that it's not a one and done. They can actually end this half in winning ways.
Well, Liquid won 44% of their 4v5s in the first 3 days. And paiN have the worst, but that doesn't really surprise me. I think a lot of the time when paiN are winning, they just seem to steamroll rounds. Like they get the opener, and then that's when everybody just starts swarming positions. We see it in this round. They managed to find themselves a pick, and then aggression starts coming in almost just to pincer in on the likes of Liquid. However, when Liquid have managed to find the opener, well, it just seems like they trade things out almost too easily. Like, there are moments where you feel like the round could slip back, but then they end up closing it out. Second attempt at that Molotov. We saw it earlier and it landed on top of the door, but not quite meant to do it. Although it might have actually done a similar job, knowing how the Molotovs actually work in this game with the flames flying down from above, but this time it lands more properly. Different setup completely, though. long control is the only real game. And it's something that paiN have actually got for free. The battle for it from Liquid was such a failure that they've just given up. They've gone, okay, we won't fight for long. You can have it, but you have to have a solid retake. Otherwise, you're going to get fluffed.
Yeah, and even though Safe has been getting picks on the cross, they seem to have been able to just barrage and brute force their way onto the A site multiple times. So they're going to just continue going in for this. Safe is watching for that potential cross for the plant, and again he connects. This time it's Elige. And a slight bit of smoke in the way, nearly doubles up as well. The bomb has been planted, but yet again, it's a post plant where paiN have the player advantage. Grim goes in for one, and that is so important for the rest of Liquid. Had he have gone down without a fight, a 5-on-3 would have been taken shape. I would have put so much more pressure on the likes of Naf, who eats tons of damage from that Molotov. Stays in there a couple seconds too long. PKL peels off the head of Stewie, and a Fallen stuck at the back of the site alongside Naf is going to try and clutch it out. Naf is spinning around. There's 3, but he can't quite get 4. And there is a kit in the hands of Hardziao, so he should have just about enough time for the defuse. Such a nice effort from Naf, but unfortunately, it won't be good enough.
I think that's the first round we've truly seen someone from Team Liquid just explode into action. Like, there's been pieces here and there, but Naf, such a nice attempt, but again, they were just so far down. And I feel like Grim's luck as well has started to become a little bit too predictable. Like, in some of the earlier rounds, they may have got caught off by it, but at this point, they are just hard clearing him every single time. Even if it's a 1-for-1 trade, particularly because paiN are getting a lot of the openers, it doesn't really matter too much.
I think we're also seeing a few of those weaknesses that Maui highlighted on the desk when he said about Dust, and you know, Blair was touching on this as well, that he was hoping that paiN would float in the Dust2 pick rather than the nuke. And this is why, because their T side does have issues. We're seeing some of those. They seem a bit glaring, Tom. But I suppose to play devil's advocate to that point, you could say, well, they've still picked up 6. Like, this definitely isn't a complete disaster. Even if they were to lose 9-6, you still feel like Liquid CT side can definitely dig them out of this position. Oh, Safe.
God. Just hits everything. Like, it's boring to say at this stage because it's just every single round, and bigazera is completely blind but had seen Fallen just moments before. They now have this crossfire ready and waiting. A couple of players waiting back towards Gandalf as well, and they're being picked apart. It's only Elige remaining. They have to pull off something pretty ridiculous. There's a bit of damage through the smoke, and the headshot will eventually be connected. Had a chance for a 1v1, but I like that from bigazera. Doesn't give it to him. Just retreats back. They're going to play this as a team, and Hardziao eventually comes in from behind. Again, solid round coming out from paiN. Although it was a weaker purchase, it was still most of the cash for Liquid.
Yeah, exactly. One of those situations where you're like, oh, they only had oh, wait, no, they can still really only have pistols and MAC-10s, and they got a couple scouts as well, so it's not going to be really that much better in this round, not for the first time, though. Players getting tagged in middle by scouts, and Safe got tagged twice. Down to 13 through the doors. Nekis also took a stray bullet down to 62. So in terms of softening up the targets, Liquid really couldn't have asked for much of a better start. It just got a whole lot better as Fallen decapitates bigazera. That will be an upgraded M4. Hardziao, though, does at least clear out the B aggression for the time being. The scout peeks in, and Hardziao doubles up.
I'm actually surprised that they haven't put more emphasis on B plays, because other than the sort of one round where they got slaughtered, they were having some pretty decent success, especially through mid, but the short plays really weren't working out too well. There's so much damage done here. Fallen actually in with a chance. 3 players tagged. They're going to push into his position. I think he might get caught out from the tunnels, though, and it eventually ends. A 9-6 half in the favor of paiN. Looking good on Dust2, but Liquid still have another half to bring this one back.
And I really need to talk to you, girl. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine, yeah. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine. When I get old and a million worries unfold, I will take this walk and do absolutely nothing, breathing in the loving life. Cause whatever will come, if you stand by me, I'm alright. And this life won't be such a fight if we're together, baby, then the sun shines bright. Oh yeah, feeling breezy and easy. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine, yeah. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be just fine, yeah. It's a beautiful day. And I'm gonna be.
Well, paiN have proven once again that they're not just a one-trick pony. After going up, I think, what, 5-0, and then it coming all the way back into the favor of Liquid. They managed to close out the half in decent fashion. Now they move on to the T side, and we're going to see if Liquid have the stones to turn this around.
Indeed, 5-0 to 6-5 in Liquid's favor, and then paiN Gaming came back and hit their stride again. Second pistol will be so vitally important. First one did go the way of the Brazilians, and now Lige has a couple chances, but the flashbang is perfect. Grim was fully flashed. Stewie, though, spins around and pivots in for 2, and he keeps the player advantage for his teammates. PKL taking tons of damage, finished off, and more importantly, the bomb has been spilled out in Catwalk, which leaves Safe in a 1-3. He's been so ridiculous with the AWP, but how is his Glock aim?
I'm not sure that's a factor too many pros factor into their careers. How good is your Glock aim? It's not the greatest weapon of all time, but we'll see what he can do with it. The one thing that's in his favor is the amount of time he has left. He's going to try and cross it. I like this because you look at the position of Naf. It's like he's just completely given up the possibility that he could be here. Still, a man himself. His spidey senses are tingling, but I feel like timing's going to be everything, especially with how low Naf currently is. He's going to actually get it. He even peaks perfectly in time. Safe, maybe a little bit frustrated as it was a big brain play, but unfortunately you can't outbrain Naf.
Oh yeah, he knows exactly what's coming up. It was a nice effort, as he said, but Stewie was everything in this round. Those opening 2 picks on middle gave him the chance, then the PKL frag, dropping the bomb down. Liquid with the second pistol. And now they are into a fantastic position. No post plant, of course, so paiN pretty much just have to bite the bullet, and they have to tap out some deagles, and that's basically all. Grenade comes up, minimal damage onto PKL, only 9 lost in the process.
It is kind of ridiculous that there's 7 kills between the second top fragger and the bottom fragger, and then 9 kills between Safe and everyone else. Like, it definitely has been the difference maker, but the fact is the scoreline is still incredibly close, and with a pistol win for Liquid, and well, what will likely be a conversion, maybe looking at paiN to see what they can do here. With the deagle being dropped, I think all chances of any real damage should have gone out the window here. Although it does look like at least he may be low, but he's still taking all of the fights. Neck is, I guess, hoping that they've abandoned long, but Grim doesn't really have a reason to move.
Yeah, love the aggression from Lige. He knows that they're going to have AKs into the next round. If he loses the MP9, then so be it. He can now hold on to it if he wants to. If not, he can upgrade. I think they may just treat this as a bonus round, though, to be honest, Tom. You got a decent amount of cash in the bank, so if you do lose this, easily right back in with another buy. And you're only 1 round behind paiN. It's not like there's a vast deficit and you have to make every single opportunity you have count. They've got a little bit of wiggle room now as a result of winning that second pistol.
Zara, he's actually just going to run straight down mid and does manage a kill, but there comes Naf. Straight back with the AUG, and while this may have been somewhat of a bonus round, but It doesn't matter. Safe again is going to be left alone within the first 25 seconds of the round. His whole team are dead.
So brutal. And a bonus round. They can now trade up to tons of AKs unless Safe can put down some misery. It's not even about winning the round at this point, although he's absolutely capable of doing it. But if he can take a couple players with him, it may be good enough just to save a couple of AKs from trading hands. So a minute to play with. We saw that he has no issue playing the slow con, the big brain ideas. And whereas last time he didn't have the bomb, this time he does. So he can take his time a little bit more. Just checking all of these angles, doing his due diligence. May get peeked momentarily, unfortunate, got spotted. And this is where now Elige can start to make a move back towards the A site. They know he was last seen in the tunnels. Molly put down just to make sure he can't cross back to middle again. And unfortunately for Safe, the timing has completely wrecked him. Any ideas he had about trying to creep his way up catwalk have been completely dashed.
The positions as well from Liquid are so solid here. Like, the reason Stewie goes for the peak is because then Grim has an instant trade if there's anyone there. They've left one player per site and consistently rotating and spotting for info. And at this stage, I assume Safe's just holding on to the AK. Bring something into the next round, of course, with the current economic stance. Like, the chance of him getting an AWP going forward may be relatively unlikely anyway. So give a chance to go for something in this round. Maybe garner them a bomb plant in the next, and that could change things at least a little bit. But this has been a solid start from Liquid. And more importantly, as you sort of mentioned, you premised the round, if they manage to win it, they're going to have a ridiculous economy. Well, they did. And now they've got 4 AKs and whatever they decide to buy alongside it. And this was just ridiculous from NAF. So clean with the AUG.
That will be a bit concerning to paiN and their fans as well, because, you know, that's not a pistol round rush. That's full AKs. And I totally respect the fact that they're going to get aggressive, they're going to continue to keep true to themselves. But against a team like Liquid, sometimes that could do more harm than good. This is where we need to see if you have a bit more depth to your T side than just rushing in and getting super aggressive. What happens when you run into a barricade that you can't break down? What happens when you run into a team that strategically is just a few levels above you?
Oh, for now at least. Got to try and play around that AK. As I said, going into the next round, the chances of an AWP coming up are fairly unlikely, unless they can steal one. Well, you know what? They are around the avenue of fun. He actually hit that shot. It was through so much that it didn't actually do that much damage, but yeah, Safe gets tanked for 28. They still have Stewie waiting on the site, Elige with a quick rotation, and even a third player towards long. Again, this is just pretty much set up to deny a bomb plant. Like, you don't want to allow that extra cash. You know that Safe saved, so you don't want to give anybody the extra money to be able to buy him an AWP, and more importantly, for him to then be able to drop.
Yeah, precisely. And a lack of utility suggests there probably won't be Molotovs finding their way on the site, which means that Stewie's position is that much more safe. I say that as PKL passes a deagle around through his eyes, and now Elige has to try and deny the bomb plant. He's trying to tap himself in, but they've already overwhelmed and swarmed the site. We will be reaching a post-plant scenario. It's important for Elige to survive. The spray is on point for 2, but now he's fallen, and suddenly paiN have a player advantage.
Okay, PKL. Just wide swings. You've got a minute advantage and you don't have any armor. Why not, though? Why not take a risk, take a peek? And, well, it must be frustrating if you're on the Liquid side. NAF, it's got to the point where saving the AK is the only real option. And paiN, well, we spoke about bomb plant. We spoke about building finances. We spoke about maybe getting an AWP in the round. There was nothing that made me think they would be able to win that one. Like, even look at the setup. A player on site, a player watching for the cross, and a player towards long, and they kill all 3 without much trouble at all.
I would love to see that from Elige's perspective, because I suspect he may very well have been flashed. And that's why Stewie went for the peak, because he felt like he was about to just get swarmed by players. But yeah, it was a really scrappy round. And as he said, like, they had a decent crossfire. They had Stewie on the site. He doesn't have to peek towards catwalk. Elige should be watching that for him. So I'm not sure if maybe Elige was peeking down towards CT to see if they dropped down or not. And in amongst all of that, Stewie just got 1 dig. Sometimes that's going to happen. You know, their aim's just going to be on fire. But they just have to shake that one off now. Accept it, move on. Realize it's a blip on the radar. However, that blip is going to be very costly. Not only are paiN now into a great position in terms of their purchase, but they've got some surplus cash as well. And that boost, not going to yield a frag on either side. With it missing the shot, Fallen will fall back to the A site.
Yeah, the one saving grace is just how much money they built in the earlier rounds. So not really needing to invest too much. But again, this AWP battle has been won a couple of times by Fallen, but this man has been by far the best player in the server. As said, like, there has been no one even close to him throughout. The next highest is still 8 kills behind him, and that's Elige, a previous, well, top 3 player in the world. Top 4, can't remember. Either way. And what? A 5-on-3 now ensues. Cards out. Trying to make his way through. Speak of the man, and he's now going to be put under pressure once again.
They've given this away, though, because they go for that pre-fire around the corner, and Elige had a chance. He had a glimmer, and he took a player, and he took 90 health off PKL. Labored spray will afford the opportunity for Grim to get a frag just before he jumps into the crosshair of Safe. Another post plant and another opportunity to try and save onto the AWP. But there is a very quick rotation coming in from Safe with the AWP. He is trying to hunt down the prey of Stewie and gets the better of him, out-peaking 2 players, Fallen first in the first kill of the round, and then full circle for Stewie on the final.
He was waiting for him. It just seems like people are predicting where this guy is going to be, and he's just like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to wreck you. I'm just better, which is not something I thought coming into this match today. Like, when he does this versus the Bad News Bears, no offense to them, but I'm not that impressed. Like, it's beating a team where I haven't seen much from in general. Doing this against Team Liquid is a whole different ballgame. That's where it starts putting you on everybody's radar. And while I'm sure Liquid are going to maybe even start wondering if they picked up the right Brazilian AWPer.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of hype behind Safe. There's no doubt about that. I've already seen a ton of it just off yesterday's performance. Imagine if they do pull off the impossible. There's a long way to go before then and now. And Big Gazera puts them one step forward. It is against USP, so let's not get carried away about this. It's looking good for paiN to get a 12. But already Safe on 27 kills. And only 8 deaths. Bigazera with another one does get dinked down from the USPs, but Safe has him covered. And it is going to be a clean sweep. paiN Gaming take a 3-round lead.
This has been the way this game has gone, though. Very back and forth, and it's hard to ever truly count Team Liquid out of any of these situations. It has to be said, though, like, there are definitely some players having a rough game. Both Stewie and Grim not up to the standard we'd like to see of them, being caught out by some fairly audacious pushes, I will admit, but even still, look, they'd be able to cope with them. Elige, he's going to battle for long. Grim's already been dispatched, and now Fallen's the only man to try and defend. You can see Stewie trying to rush in, but, well, one team who's not rushing is paiN. They've slowed things right down.
Love it. I love this mix of pace. They're not getting too carried away. It's that clarity and chaos. That key component that separates the good teams from the truly excellent ones when it comes to aggressive plays. Once you've got those picks, do you keep holding W and potentially run into that extra player and give them a chance back into the round? Or do you slow it down? Do you make them sweat it out? Do you make them use their utility and over-rotate? And that's exactly what paiN have done. They've had an excellent control of the tempo and the pace of these rounds. And also, you could see from Elige's perspective there, after he died, he just took his hands off and kind of shrugged. It's like, clearly, just they're not feeling comfortable at all here on long. I think paiN Gaming have realized it's why they keep pressuring over on the A side, but specifically on long side, they're feeling very good about this. Post plant will be coming up, and Liquid just want to save on B. So we're already getting to that point, Tom, where paiN are the firm favorites to take map 1.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're a highlight of long as well. Like, I can think of maybe one round where Liquid actually took it, even in the first half. And again, that was more just paiN giving it up. Like, that was them having a different idea about how they were going to play things. In terms of this half, yeah, they just walk in, they win the duels. Grim was gone within the first few seconds. And yeah, sure, Elige has not been playing badly. I won't say that, but I can't expect him to 1v3 or 1v4 the entirety of their squad. They are trying to hunt this down. The Stew's positioning is good. It helps keep The remaining players alive. No reason to peek that. Absolutely none. Like, there is nothing to be lost for paiN Gaming, and for Naf, he now doesn't have a gun.
Yeah, I don't get it. He shoulder peeked the first time and wouldn't have seen someone come down window. I think he was trying to watch out for his teammate that was on the site. But after that first shoulder peek, like, cool, no one's pushed. No need to peek again. I don't know, like Liquid feel, it almost feels like they're a bit shaky right now. You know, maybe this is where, and Stewie said on the first day in his interview, everyone expects them to win. They have everything to lose and very little to gain from this experience. And I wonder if being put under this kind of duress and pressure will start to get to Liquid. It's certainly not getting to Stewie. He's been playing very well. 11 kills, but mainly this half he's been coming alive, especially in the pistol. But Unleash again, out in the middle of nowhere, picked off by Nekis, and Stewie's just been chunked down to 46.
They've given up B as well. Just look at the remaining players. There's chaos being caused on the other side of the map. And you just see the clarity, as we mentioned before, of the other players just walking into B. They have almost full control. The only danger is Naf, who's managed to sneak through the smoke. He drops the bomb and at least buys his teammates a little bit of time. They'll be on spot by the time this bomb looks to be planted. Stewie, he's going through the smoke as well. This seems to be the play. Just take some risks, try and catch them out, but Hard's out is ready and waiting. 2 drop, the 3rd will fall as well. And paiN again. They just managed to pull through in these situations. It looked for a second like it could have been close, but in the end, they survive with 3.
Just that moment of hesitation where Stewie decided not to push through the smoke to try and deny the bomb plant, or at least get a better angle on the post plant. And that costs him dearly. And although Liquid do get another buy-in, including double AWPs, one of which is glass cannon, the nature in these last few rounds has been so brutal, but Stewie with a sublime flick down to PKL, trying to at least mount that second gust of wind to take them towards at least overtime and potentially outright win 16-14. Second AWP is also chipped in. Fallen picks up a frag. Very important for Liquid to not just win this round, but to actually get it done convincingly. If they can survive with 4 or 5 players, that's an excellent foundation to build off.
Oh, it was close. But Stewie survives. This time Safe is out-jeweled, which is not something I've said much throughout this game. Bigozera not quite far, but it seems like they're aware of it. The flash may not have blinded him, but it does give the angle over to Naf, and now Hard's out, the only one remaining. A free kill onto Grim at least. If he can kill the second player on site, he has a chance, but Elige won't give that a second thought. 14-10, but it still feels pretty tentative. It was a good round from Liquid, but normally I look at this and go, okay, maybe if they get to 11, 12, I'd believe in the comeback, but there's just a part of me that just thinks eventually paiN will do something that will close out this game.
That is the beauty of having a team that have a lot of loose cannons, and they have the ability to throw caution to the wind. That even if you do have a really solid CT side, if you are eyeing up a vast deficit and you have very few lifelines left, it only takes one of those crazy plays to slip through the crack, and that could be all she wrote. So absolutely, that pressure we were talking about has now been dialed up to 11. Of course, this is the first map, and it is paiN Gaming's choice of map, which should also be highlighted, and one that we felt Liquid weren't exactly fantastic on themselves. Not an impenetrable defense by any stretch, and Fallen watching down towards Catwalk, sees the Molotov land just ahead of him, but is going to hold his position. A flashbang, though, forces him away.
Solid stuff from paiN. The Molotov normally enough, but if you don't hear any ticks, you don't hear any damage, worth that extra $200 flash just to make sure it's clear. Now, they're still holding in somewhat of a default. Set in duos to take map control, and there is a push coming in. Again, they've tried to put pressure onto Grim, onto Long throughout this map so far, but the change to a double AWP has definitely brought a little bit of life into this Liquid squad. Again, we're going to see a lot of utility going into B, but the rest of the players yet to make a move. It has, however, garnered a bit of space for Bigozera, who is now going to start the split.
Oh, it's phenomenal as well. They're simultaneously faking A, draws away Stewie from the B site, allows them to get that freebie frag and just close down B. For all, I think we've been doing paiN a little bit of disservice by saying just how aggressive they are all the time. That was such a well thought out round that had so many moving parts and components, and Liquid bit down on that hook, line, and sinker.
That's the sort of round I would like either Blair or Maui to break down, because that was perfect. Like, I honestly can't fault anything about this round. Unless they all die to Fallen here trying to face him, and they won't. There's nothing I would change about that round for paiN. As you said, it was almost like they were pulling the strings. They get the initial pick, then they have the slow lurk through mid. It was just fantastic. And then the picks from Bigger Zera just make it even better. But even after the first kill, he had done enough to win them the round. So that was sublime.
Very, very impressed with paiN Gaming. And Liquid, sure, you could say that some of those big hitters, likes of Grim, have had a rough day at the office. There's no two ways about that. But paiN have done everything they could have possibly been asked, and then some, above and beyond. Mainly this man, safe. 30 kills, 116 ADR. Not too shabby about against one of the world's best. And now
31 Vince.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. 31 kills. I wouldn't write off these and get more in this round either. This could be it. This could be it for Dust2.
It could be. He is still miles ahead. He's actually increased the amount. We were talking about 8 or 9 kills. He's now 11 kills above anyone else. And it's not all about fragging, but you know what? He's been nuts. So I think it has to be brought up again. Another pick onto Stewie, and Fallen. They've got the bait and switch here. Naf, a lot of the time, will look to take control away, but they've already cleared Fallen's angle, making sure he's not going to be able to stick around. Will he go back? That's the question. If he can get back into the corner, maybe it's a surprise, but it doesn't even look like they're going to go in this direction. The challenge seems to be onto Elige, and he's in desperate need of some information. You can see they're just waiting, but it's going to come from somewhere else entirely. A new challenger approaches, and it's going to be Fallen.
Odds out. Pretty straightforward kill. Doesn't pick up the AWP because he knows he needs to get over to the A site as soon as physically possible. And the AWP in this kind of a situation may not afford him too many opportunities. 20 seconds, more than enough time for the plant, which is now going down. And Bigger Zera is up close. He's there to try and thwart away this retake, which is pretty one-dimensional. 2 of the 3 players over on Catwalk. And Bigger Zera with Nekis has put them both down. And Fallen last man standing, but not for much longer. paiN Gaming have not just taken Liquid down in our first map, but they do it in style.